All right, first off, I want to thank everyone for being here. Got to give a big shout out. It's my youngest, Jace's birthday, so he's 9 years old. Big moment in the Dickert household, cake and ice cream. What a big win. A big win for our university, our alumni, our faculty, our staff, our seniors, our coaches, support staff, everybody. And, I told the staff, yesterday, we found a way to win, and I'm not going to say we won ugly. That's just the way we win now, right? This is a team effort. Very physical football game, and it was awesome to see. I mean, offense, the hard part was we've just left some things out there the last 3 weeks, and there's opportunities. And, it's tough to come up here every week and say that we got to get over the hump, but, we got to get back to work. I mean, we didn't hit any shots. I mean, people have done a good job of taking some of those things away. I think we do have some playmakers. Obviously, Micah Mays not being out there really hurt kind of our downfield production. But when it mattered, 16 plays, 9 minutes off the clock, 4 third-down conversions, and you don't take that lightly. That's physical, dirty, aggressive football, and I thought that's the way we played the game. Defensively, I mean, what else can you say? I mean, these guys are playing incredible football. If you give these guys an inch to defend, they're going to defend the inch with everything they got, and I think that just says a lot about the identity on that side of the ball. The 3 takeaways obviously changed the whole complexity of the game. Got Virginia uncomfortable, and I think that's one thing that a lot of people haven't been able to do, so that was awesome. And then to deliver the knockout blow at the end of the game, and obviously came down to the wire, that was awesome. And then special teams, just such a big play. Carlos is such a big play. Just a tremendous amount of effort. I know Carlos gets his name in the paper, but Cordell Bartley had his guy out of bounds. Frank Casano gets a big block. Carlos, great job of seeing it and kicking out, down the sideline. Just a huge play in the game. And then obviously the 3 field goals. Connor Calvert delivers again, which is huge for our program. So biggest message to the guys is, we got to respond from success. We didn't do it after the SMU game. Those guys see it, they know it, they learn from it. Another nameless, faceless opponent that we got to go out there and be our best at. So another great challenge this week. Awesome. We're entering the 4th quarter of the season. Every phase, through the first 3 quarters, we've been 2-1. We get an opportunity to write the final chapter. I think that's the exciting part for our team, our coaches, our seniors, and it starts with a Big 4 matchup. A team that's obviously playing really good football. They won their last 2 football games. I got a lot of texts over the last 48 hours, and not very many of them were about UVA. Okay, they were about this game, learning a little bit more about the history and kind of the passion of the football game. Really excited about that. It's our military appreciation game, and I think there's, we do a lot of games, but there's none better than to honor all the men and women, who serve this country and have served this country and the sacrifices they make. I think that's really important. The game sponsor is a Legacy Federal Credit Union, and I couldn't think of a better sponsor. And this is an opportunity for our program, for all Deacs out there, 4:30 Saturday night, to have a program-changing environment. That's the call. And I'm talking straight out to all of our fans, all of our alumni, all of our students. We get an opportunity to create an environment that these players deserve. I'm so proud of our team, so proud of our guys, and it's going to be awesome, and we got to reset and have a great week of preparation, which has already begun. So I'll open it up to any questions.
Jake, now that you've gotten to look back at that 4th down stop on offense that you guys kind of had with Plumwood, what went into you being aggressive in that 4th down? And now that people
on a goal line, you're saying?
Yeah. And what would you have changed and look back at the first 3 or 4 plays?
I mean, I'll go for that 100% of the time. We're 4th down in there. I trust our guys. I trust the physicality of it. We had a big execution error on that play alone. I try not to sit here and debate too many calls. I mean, I have coordinator meetings. We discuss those situations. We felt it was the best play call at the time to get it in DeMond's hands, and obviously you mishandle the ball and the snap and the whole thing, it's going to go bad. And we had a big execution error up front in communication, and it comes down to that. In critical moments, trying to beat really good opponents, you can't have that. And unfortunately, it's been semi-consistent, or having to talk about those moments once a week, and we got to eliminate that. And growth is never ending. We're going into week 10 or game 10, and we got to get that thing done. So we'll always go for that and be aggressive, but we got to execute better. And I trust our guys to go out there and finish that thing with an exclamation point touchdown.
Jake, you mentioned it multiple times that this team was not projected to be a bowl-eligible team, projected to be at the bottom of the ACC. Have you had a moment since Saturday to just sit and reflect on what you've accomplished in your first season so far?
We got back at 4 a.m. There wasn't a lot of reflection happening. No, because like too many people want to. I'm gonna say this the right way. Like, write the review of the story while it's still happening. We got a lot of time left. We got a lot of opportunity left. Proud of our team. Proud of where we're at. We've always taken a 1-0 approach, and I think that's really important to maintain that, even as you have success. We didn't talk about the bowl game leading into it. Our guys are well aware. Obviously, we acknowledged it after. We'll probably an 18th team to go to a bowl game here. Okay, you sure? Okay, all right. So that is great. That is great. But I do think there will be time to talk about that and to reflect on that. But right now, in the moment, we're competing to do bigger things, and I don't want Saturday to be the pinnacle of our season. And I know our team and the people in this room don't either.
You mentioned you got a lot of text about this upcoming game on Saturday, another Big Four matchup, especially with how the last one ended. Is there an extra emphasis on this game on Saturday?
Well, the same thing. Me too. I learned from Florida State game and not getting too high or too low for any one matchup. But you got to feel the passion of the place and like what it means in the game, and but also not any of the past results, because I've been in great matchups. I've been in great rivalries, and you can't. We ended a 7-year streak at the last place I was at. And sometimes that's all people want to talk about. This is a unique opportunity with two teams that are battling for kind of where they want to finish and how they want to the program's trajectory and all that type of stuff. So our guys do have to understand, though, like the Big Four games, they mean something to us. I don't know what it means to them. I don't know all that type of stuff, but it's important to us and our university and our players and our alumni. So that's why it's important to me also. And our guys will realize that going into the game. But that shouldn't just fire you up. It should be to win a football game and defend our home field.
Jake, I know you said that because there's still so much of the season left to play, bigger goals, you don't want to reflect too much on being bowl eligible. But can you at least take a moment to reflect on what this means for guys who came, the Nick Andersons, the Devon Claibornes, the Devon Pattersons, Quincy Bryants, who came back because they didn't like the way the last season ended and they wanted to come back and do more, and what they've gotten so far?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back all the way to like just believing in what you're doing. And I think these guys had a tremendous opportunity through change, to elevate. And we always talked about from day one being the foundation of building something special. And what did that mean to them? And even after Florida State's failure, I mean, there was a lot of opportunity left in this season, and I'm more just thankful for those guys, right? For their belief in us. They could be playing anywhere in the country. They wanted to be here. They wanted to stay with us. More importantly, they wanted to stay with each other, and I thought, some of the things I've heard reverberated from like Dylan Hazen just speaking about those things too. I think, that's really important coming from them, and just I'm so appreciative to that group of people and those guys and like just their buy-in, because it's tough to get sometimes in today's world, and these guys have been nothing but great and proud of what they accomplished, but I think they're really proud of it because they get to spend more time together. And I think that's what I really probably take the most from it, is that these guys really want to be together longer, and we'll get that opportunity in December.
With the ups and downs that North Carolina has had this season, there's still the story of the guy at the head of the program.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever coached against someone who's going to be in the NFL Hall of Fame someday?
No, I have not. But to your point, I mean, they're doing what good teams and well-coached teams do, is they get better as they go throughout the season. I think defensively, especially when you look at that side of the ball, and, we faced the other coach, Belichick, his son, the DC last year when he was at Washington, and it is an aggressive style that they've always played. Okay, called it a build-a-bear defense, and I don't mean that like in some jest. Like, they're going to find ways to get 5 guys at the line of scrimmage in a million different ways, and they are all about affecting blocks, shedding blocks, running angles, playing aggressive man coverage. They did it last year. Number 2, the Simpson kid who we played last year at Boise State, is a tremendous player. He's playing that kind of hybrid role that number 11 from Washington played last year. So really aggressive style of ball. And offensively, I think they've gotten better. I think the run game's starting to really pop. I think the freshman tailback is phenomenal. Obviously, Coach Ezell has some great history with the quarterback, and so it's going to be one of those things at the line of scrimmage. Who can win that battle? I think that's where both teams' strengths are, and what that looks like. We'll see that unfold. But we got to find ways to get some explosive plays, and we just have to. And we'll keep hunting those things. We'll keep throwing those things. I thought. I look back at the tape, Robbie did a good job of finding some of those things late. So we'll have to be better this week to go out there and earn a win.
You mentioned Gio Lopez, their quarterback, Ezell's history with him. How, not awkward, but does Rob kind of pop into the defensive meeting and go, hey, this is what I've seen out of him in the last years?
Rob's got enough on his plate. Okay, he's worrying about their defense. No, I've watched so much of, just through the interview process, I watched so much of the South Alabama stuff that, I got a chance to see him and his talents. And obviously, he's, they're asking him to do a lot of different things, I think, than we did with him last year. And I think they're finding his strengths. He's taking a ton of hits. You can tell the kid is tough. He's taking a ton of hits. So, yeah, we know about him. We know his strengths and some of the things that hurt him. But, just like anything else in today's world, it was weird for me at first, but playing against former players, it's different. But I think we all run into it now, and it's part of kind of college football.
You mentioned after the game on Saturday that you fired the team up a little bit too much going into Florida State. And what have you learned coming into this week and kind of using that with your leaders and everyone else to say, hey, it's not making the same mistake?
Yeah, and I just, I do that from time to time. I'm a fiery guy, but I think you got to learn from all those things. And I think maybe the best leaders, the best coaches really reflect week to week. I try to do that. I try to write everything down. I try to remember things that we did positive throughout the week. I like to be very detailed on that and giving our coaches feedback. Coach Kramer is a big asset to me. He's our assistant head coach, and we're in charge of doing a lot of the mentality stuff with the team, and some of the things that you guys see through the game recaps. And he's a big asset to our program, so we communicate hey, we probably too charged up for that one, and we played that way. And I thought we took a better approach against UVA, and we got to do the same thing against North Carolina.
In the fourth quarter on Saturday, UVA was ran a stunt on offense, kind of a draw play, running back going up the middle. Nick Anderson was the one who made the tackle from 7 yards deep in his position and just charging full steam ahead. Is that one of those plays that you defined earlier in the season as him playing on instinct?
Well, there's a lot of those plays. He's just, once again, every time I think he's played his best game, he goes out there the next week, and I'm saying the same thing up here every single week. And it's just impressive, though. But to see a guy that prepares that way, that works that way, that leads that way, is just absolutely incredible. The things I get to see behind the scenes, probably one of the best leaders that I have worked with in my 17 years of coaching, and I don't say that lightly. Just his willingness to take control and to say, Coach, I got this. To have the finish that we want, it's got to be player-led. I really mean that, and I think Nick's been one of the guys that has just wanted to lead from the front since the moment we got here, since the very first phone call. He's like, Coach, what do you need from me? Who do you need me to call? And I just think, you see that in the way he plays, and that's a great eye. That was a tremendous play. He plays on instincts and aggression, and that doesn't mean he makes every play, okay? But, man, I'm so glad we have him here and so proud of what he's accomplished.
Langston mentioned that after the game. In
Yeah.
the post-game interviews, he said that there have been times when, on the field, Nick kind of pulls everybody together to get them calmed down or get them refocused or whatever's needed at that moment. What does that tell you about the fact that his own teammate, he has the attention of his teammates as well? It's one thing, his relationship with you, but he's got that kind of impact on his teammates.
Well, even the captain's vote, I've never seen a guy get dang near 100% of the vote. I think it just says what he's done for everybody in this room, and that's freshmen, offense, defense, specialists, new guys, transfers. That's a guy that connects and relates to everybody because of just mutual respect. Like Langston says that because of the mutual respect he has for Nick Anderson as a leader, as a man, as a person. And once again, when his NFL career is over, hire that man. I don't care whatever field you're in out there. Like, this guy's going to be so successful. I'd love for him to be one of our coaches someday. I mean that, but I'm sure he wants to go out there and have a less stress-free life and make more money doing it. So, but if it's a financial advisor, I'd give Nick my money.
You mentioned you watched the tape back a little bit and saw what Robbie did late in the game.
Yeah.
Big picture-wise, with these two guys that are rotating in, you only have 3 weeks left of the regular season and then a bowl game. How do you get them so quickly to kind of, get in a groove leading into the Saturday?
I think that is a challenge. I acknowledge that, and I've acknowledged that with those two guys. And every once in a while, right now we're going 2 series, 1 series. You come off and, say you go touchdown, and hey, you got to stick to the plan. Especially Deshaun, and sometimes you got to wait in the flow of the game, and sometimes you got to earn your plays too, or we got to convert on those third downs. We got to make some of those throws. We had an opportunity. He did a great job on a scramble play, and we just, either throw the ball on the run or reset your feet. He got caught in between, and then the ball sails on you. So I acknowledge the challenge of it with both of those guys. I'm not saying this is ideal. I believe they both should be playing, and we will at some point play the hot hand when it arises. I thought Robbie at the end of the game did a good job of just saying, I'm going to go get this. Okay, on the 3rd and 7, he didn't even make a read. He said, I am out of here. And he went down, he put his shoulder down, and he went and made the play. And sometimes, quarterbacking, yes, a lot of it falls on them, right? But, sometimes on offense, you got to be able to throw the 5-yard hitch, and someone just makes it happen. We just haven't had a lot of that the last 3 weeks. We'll continue to take those opportunities and shots. And like I said, Micah being out, Chris was banged up, coming off of that hit in the Florida State game. So we couldn't get him the ball exactly the way we wanted to always. So, we got to help him around him. And I swear, and I hope this is the week, we are this close to breaking one of these runs. There's just some little details and finer points that we got to make sure we're hitting on to get big explosive runs.
Jake, I'm curious, in preseason coaches meetings, what your interactions were like with Coach Belichick?
Well, I got a chance. He sat right next to me in the one deal. I thought that was pretty cool. Couldn't figure out how to plug in his deal. I helped him out. I thought that was awesome. But I was just really impressed just being in that room. We're talking about 3 NFL head coaches in there. You're talking about a kid from Wisconsin, Stevens Point. You're talking about the future of college football, I think, in that room too. I got a lot of respect for Coach Key and Coach Lashley, and just the breadth of coaches and accomplishments, not just Coach Belichick, but that whole room. And he's got a big voice. People listen to him. He's got great experience for where a lot of coaches want to be at the NFL level. So just tremendous amount of respect for what he's done for the game. Wherever this all ends up, just what he's done for our game, period, is really impressive.
Coach at right tackle, Lely, it felt like during that Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech stretch, he was really playing some good football, has the ankle injury, misses a game, and then didn't look 100% at SMU, but the last couple of games, it looks like he's starting to get back to NFL talent like I think you guys thought of him as. What have you seen out of him in the last few games? Is he getting back to that level?
Yeah, I think that's a good eye. And no matter how you look at it, against a very impressive front, we gave up 0 sacks. That doesn't mean it was perfect, and we gave up some hits. And I think Lely is a big part of that. And remember, if you go back through his whole history, a lot of injuries there and stuff. This was his first fall camp in a long time. He's missed 3 springs, so it's just been finally getting him settled and comfortable and having the longevity of the season. He battled through some of that stuff, but he's a great player. He's a tremendous athlete. He's an amazing person. Melvin Siani on the other side is absolutely lights out. So anytime you can have 2 tackles playing at elite level, you're going to have a chance to win football games. So I'm proud of Lely, and our whole offensive line, I do think, are taking strides, and we're hoping to get Clint Richards back here pretty soon. He's going to be practicing on Tuesday, so excited about kind of what that brings to the table as well.
You had a little bit more discipline when it comes to penalties. You weren't hit as hard with penalties, and certainly not at critical moments of the game like in previous weeks. What was the focus during the week?
I did a better job coaching. I told you here. part of the, post-game analysis. Like, I didn't have us ready for the noise in the last two situations. That's all we did last week. That's all we did last week, and that's on me, and I thought those guys handled it really well. But you can't beat good opponents beating yourself. I think we had one pre-snap penalty this week. Didn't turn the ball over, which can't be understated. We were +3 in the turnover margin. That team we played was +10, right? So going, on the season. So huge, and we have to play that way. Yet fast, physical, and aggressive. The defensive penalties, the PIs, like all that type of stuff really melted away. So we had a couple on special teams that we got to clean up. So just happy with the way those guys played, and I think we put them in a better environment throughout the week. Surprise, you see a better result on Saturday, right? So those are the things when we talk about better coaching. I thought we did a better job of that.
Critical question. What kind of cake and ice cream gets served at the Dickens house?
It depends. I'm 100% an ice cream cake guy, like 100%. Okay, but Jace is more of like a Walmart, like yellow cake guy. Cookies and cream, ice cream on the top, 100%. So it's gonna be I'm going in for 2 servings. There's no doubt about that. So, but it's gonna be a great night for sure. We had them during the amazing rivalry of South Dakota State on a Thursday night. I'll never forget it. His middle name is actually Jax, after the South Dakota State Jackrabbits. So amazing when you have kind of these in-season moments that keep you going.
Anything else for Coach Guys?
All right, guys. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.